Worlds begin in darkness, and also end. The heart is no different. Darkness sprouts within it. It grows, consumes it. Such is its nature. In the end, every heart returns to Cosmere Chronicles, the podcast we follow two first-time readers, Sheta and Justin, and we chronicle their journey through Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere series. On today's episode, we'll be chronicling the Stormlight Archive, The Way of Kings, chapters 45 through 47. So now, let's throw it back over to the host of Cosmic Chronicles. This is Joe.
Thank you, Joe. Yep, everyone. Cosmic Chronicles, that's the name of this show. We're here. We're ready to get down. And I'm here today with Justin and Sheta. How are you two doing today?
Ooh,
Hi.
ready to get down.
I'm also ready to get down.
Yep, that's us. And, so we'll just get right into it. Earlier today, I watched the movie Clue. So because of that, our random question for the week is, when you play Clue, who do you usually play as?
Who do I play as in fucking Clue? Professor Plum.
Yes.
Easy. Easiest question I've ever answered.
All right, and why?
Because he's a professor, and his name is Plum. That's cool. It's not a very complex game.
I guess I usually pick Miss Scarlet just because I like femme fatales.
When all three of the women be femme fatales because they could have been the one to commit the murder.
Yeah, but are they very classy and hot? I don't think so.
I
Right,
guess
Justin,
not.
back me up.
Oh,
Femme fatales have to be very alluring and stuff. And I don't remember if the maid and stuff is the same. Unless,
The
maids are
maid
actually
in the movie
quite...
sure was.
Yvette.
I'm looking at the classic game pieces to see how they all
Okay,
look.
the maid probably wasn't the best choice.
I guess the box covers, Miss Scarlet usually was the hottest one on the box covers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the maid's an old lady on these pieces I'm looking at.
Mrs. White
Yep.
is usually older.
Yeah, Miss
And
Scarlet is the
for-
femme fatale for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess for me, when I play, I usually would go with Mr. Green. I don't know. I just maybe because his name was just Mr. So I like being basic. And it's like a real name. Just like Mr. Green. You could think that I was just playing as Tom Green.
Why Tom
Oh.
Green? No.
It was the first one that popped in my
He's the
mind.
voice,
Don't worry.
He's the voice of a generation, Sheta.
I also regret mentioning Tom Green on our podcast. And I've seen the movie Freddy Got Fingered. It's not a good movie.
I'm looking at this
But-
new Clue board. Some of them look cool, but some of them fucking suck ass. So I guess it has to depend what version we're playing.
Yeah, I think
I'd
Isn't
still
that
play
always
the
gonna
modern
happen?
Professor Plum. Well, yeah, but different versions kind of keep similar archetypes that I'm looking at. The new ones swapped them up quite a bit. And some of them look cool, but some of them look weird.
let me.
And they turned the maid into a chef? What is this stupid shit?
You can't mess with the Clue formula. It's perfect.
Yeah, I
already.
know. It's weird.
They're all archetypes. Like, perfect archetypes.
All of them look fine, except Miss Scarlet has this stupid-ass modern haircut that makes her look like a fucking idiot. The rest of them, I think, look fine, though.
All right. I think I found the one that you were looking at, Justin, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at images, and it's from an article that says all the new Clue board game characters ranked by hotness.
That's stupid.
I just have to see it's. They put Miss Scarlet at the top.
I don't know. Not with that.
Everyone
haircut.
agrees.
Wait. His name's Mayor Green? They changed it to
They
Mayor
changed
Green
it?
in this?
That's fucking stupid. Well, they ruined your favorite character for your favorite reason, Joe.
There's a version
Right,
where he's
well-
a reverend, so I think people just do whatever they want.
It's almost like nobody cares that much about the Clue characters. That's not going to be
Just a
amazing.
li-
If I'm going to go buy a copy of Clue, I'm going to be honest. The character designs are probably going to be a minor part of whether I buy the version or not.
Oh, all right. All right. I think we've talked enough about the board game Clue. So instead, let's get into back to Cosmere and specifically the Way of Kings by first having Justin do a recap of last week's chapters. Go.
Oh, God.
Start off, I guess I can tell you there were 2 flashback chapters.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. The kid got all fucked up and he died at the operating table, the mayor's kid. They saved his life. Kaladin disagreed, realized he could kill somebody. Later on in the flashbacks, Amaran, I think is the name, comes to recruit. The guy in charge, in revenge, sends Kaladin's brother. Kaladin volunteers. His father's all upset. He promises to bring him back. Outside of that, I don't know. I don't remember. These chapters are starting to blend together because we've got these long plots going. Give me a clue.
There was a new person put in charge of the bridge crews.
Yeah. That one lady whose husband was not talking.
So that
Lounged
lady.
around. The bridge crews are going to need to clean the chasms. That was the main plot point. Mm-hmm.
And Kaladin decided something at the end.
Yep, he decided he's going to betray his own army and go AWOL in dishonor. Disgusting.
And then with Shallan and Capsule flirted a lot.
Yeah, they basically did it verbally. Yes, I remember this.
In a Anakin and Padme type scene where they had a picnic in the meadow.
Oh no, they made Anakin and Padme look downright poetic in their romance.
We're talking about that picnic scene is so romantic where Anakin's talking about how he wants to create a dictatorship.
Everyone's into their own things, we can't judge too harshly.
And then Anakin pretends to be hurt by the cow pig thing, and then Padme starts going into her Michael Jackson song. Because Anakin's down. She's going over there asking Annie, "Are you okay?"
Oh my god.
Oh god.
No.
But also Shallan, she does get worried about the wind's pleasure coming in a week, and she's like, all right, I'm going to have to leave in a week.
Yep, that was the important plot point, yes. Good job. I remembered everything. 10 out of 10.
All right. So, so that's what happened on the last week's chapters. So for this week, we only read 3 chapters, but I feel like these were some meaty chapters. Quite a bit happened in them. So, as per usual, I'll just ask you two, what'd you think about these chapters this week?
I was mad. I was mad to learn one thing, and I was kind of I'm getting all frustrated at kind of being jerked around for another thing. But we got a decent amount of information, so I like that.
Yes, I liked the amount of information. That would be the part I liked most.
I'm curious, what made Sheta mad?
Yeah, I don't know. I can't
You'll
even guess.
find out in this week's episode.
I also felt this had one of the most badass parts so far, which I enjoyed.
I'll have to say, like, these 3 chapters are 3 of the chapters I've most been looking forward to since we started this
You
book.
mean when all kinds of crazy fucking shit starts going down?
Oh,
When
yeah.
this turns from like a pretty regular book into a bunch of crazy nonsense.
That's true.
Yep. Shallan falls into a horror movie. Kaladin gets a badass fight in the past. Also in the present, we got to see our first face-to-face interaction between 2 of our 3 story arcs meeting up. Yeah, but if you guys don't have anything else to say, then we'll go right into the chapters.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil any of this stuff.
Spoil. I'm hoping that people have read these already.
Yeah, but the excitement, I want to save it for live action excitement.
Live reaction, you
All right.
mean, right?
No, I said what I meant.
All right. This episode is in live action as opposed to all the others, which were animated.
I don't know what you were imagining, but
You should have imagined a cartoon.
In your mind, just only imagine all of us as if we were drawn by Ichiro Oda.
that'd be pretty cute.
I don't know if I have the energy to be drawn by Ichiro Oda, honestly.
Just be a lazy character type.
You just need to be one of the early characters, like the first 50 chapters. I mean, just compare what Shank's crew looks like to what Kaido's crew looks like.
Definitely going to lean more on the Shanks side, personally. Not the Kaido side.
Or what the Big Mom pirates look like.
That might be accurate to Sheta.
Yeah, that's my favorite crew, so makes sense.
All right.
We'll be lucky, Joe, if we get buggy pirates, I'm going to be honest.
They're also pretty normal looking.
Yeah, well, they dress pretty different than what I would call normal looking. And they come off as a lot lamer than Shanks' crew.
Are you saying that Moji's not cool?
Actually, I am saying that.
Yes.
Okay, but that's enough One Piece talk. If people go read One Piece to understand what we're talking about. But we'll go into back to the Way of Kings with chapter 45. This one's called Shadesmar. All right, so epigraph. Yelignar, called Blightwind, was one that could speak like a man, though often his voice was accompanied by the wails of those he consumed. The Unmade were obviously fabrications of folklore. Curiously, most were not considered individuals, but instead personifications of kinds of destruction. This quote from Traxel, line 33, considered a primary source, though I doubt its authenticity.
I don't understand why you doubt it when we have real spread and stuff, right? Unless, I don't know when this book is written.
Well, real spread, but this one, they're talking about the Unmade.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
AKA
didn't they say
another kind of...
that they're more personified than are? Like, the way they were described was quite different, you know?
Do we even fully understand what Spren are?
No, but they do seem to not be, like, thought of as, like... People don't seem to think of them alive, really. To me, at least. They're more like a phenomenon.
Yeah, or the third stage of the evolution of Spren.
What was that?
Huh? What do you mean, what's that?
Is that something
That's
somebody
just
said?
No, that's just something I said.
Oh, geez.
Just
Yeah, I
that-
thought I missed a whole part.
No, I'm just saying that what we've learned from that one guy who researched Spren is they are not. There's a lot we don't know about them. Just after we saw that big water Spren, I just totally changed my point of view about them, or my idea of Spren changed.
Also, like, Sill's the only Spren we've seen that's actually seems to have some sort of intelligence. Even at the beginning, Kaladin was saying, like, yeah, sometimes like they might repeat words, but they can't really talk.
Yeah, further proof that Sprens are related to these other things. They're capable of getting there, of evolving. I mean,
All right. So this is a Shallan chapter. And we begin it, and Shallan is reading Gavilar's accounts of his early meetings with the Parshendi. And in his accounts, the Parshendi are telling them that they will lead him on a hunt for the monster of the chasm. And Parshendi, they also mention their terrible gods, and Gavilar believes that they mean these chasm fiends as their terrible gods. The Parshendi, at one point they had met their Parshmen and asked, where is their music? Gavilar also mentions how the Parshendi, they could be humming and chanting a song, and he'll walk away and he'll find some other Parshendi that are out of earshot of the ones he had left, and they'll be like continuing like humming the same exact rhythm as if it was like connected. Shallan asked Yasna why her father was so interested in the Parshendi, because he seems to have been interested in them even before he had the opportunity to know that they had shards. And in Navani's biography of Gavilar, she mentions that he was not a scholarly man. But, even before this, he had become obsessed with their language, society, and music. And Yasna says, well, sometimes people just change. But she does applaud Shallan for noticing the discrepancy in him, because most people have not noticed it. And Shallan mentions that Yasna is a historian, but Yasna corrects her and says that she is a Aristotelian. What they are a group of people who they search for the truth in history that is free from bias. And Shallan wonders, why is it then that Yasna is spending so much time studying folktales? She has to be planning on doing something with all these folktales. And Shallan also thinks about how Tazbek's ship is arriving tomorrow, so she knows that she's going to have to leave. So she's going to have to start complaining, right now. That way Yasna will not be surprised when Shallan leaves. But instead, Shallan asked, what is Urithiru?
I'm
And
getting really
Yasna tells
mad
her
at
that
Shallan for her plans here. They're driving me nuts. You can't go half in on stealing one of the most valuable things from one of the most important people in the world. You need to go all in on that or not.
Well, it's just, showing that she did not expect to like working so much.
Yeah, well, you need to go all in. She stole it on an impulse, and now she's getting cold feet about leaving. That's the most dangerous way to do it. This is like
Yeah, we
probably an
already saw that.
Yeah, probably like an
We saw that with
executionable offense.
Oh yeah, sorry, I keep saying Kaladin's dad stealing the orb like that.
That's true. That's true,
Once you
actually.
commit to
But
doing the
he, but
crime,
he
you
was
have
all
to-
in on it. Oh, you mean he should have killed him? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, you have to follow through. You can't half-ass it.
You should have left town, right?
Yep.
And Yasna tells her that Urithiru was said to have been the center of the Silver Kingdoms. It was the most important city in all of the world, and it had been abandoned even before the Lost Radiants turned against mankind, and now most of the scholars just consider it a myth. Most of what they know about Urithiru comes from just fragments of lost works, because the only complete work they have from those early days that long ago is The Way of Kings. And Shallan's thinking about the stuff and suggests maybe Urithiru could be hidden where Nat-Natin used to be. Or if you remember Nat-Natin, that's the land, that's what the Shattered Plains is now. It used to be the area called Nat-Natin before it got destroyed. But Yasna tells her it's not in Nat-Natin. But Shallan continues and brings up, well, the Parshendi, they have such beautiful swords and weapons, but when Gavilar and Dalnard first found them, they had been living in just huts of stone and cram, and their drums were crudely made. So maybe they got those swords in the ruins of Urithiru, but Yasna once again says the city is not there.
I wonder if Brandon Sanderson enjoys setting up these mysteries and then having characters like Shallan be like us and be like, our theories, and then having Yasna be like, nope, that's not right. Try again. Just to say that he has thought about what we might be thinking about where places are, because we said exactly that, Well, I said exactly that.
I don't know. If she says, no, you're wrong without providing any evidence, that's only going to make question more if they're right, about their thoughts.
Yeah. I think it's fun to have it addressed. Like the big, obviously there's a big mystery area, so that has to be it, right? Yeah. It could just be either way. The discussion alone is exciting enough,
It's really interesting when characters openly talk about what the audience would also be talking about. I always like when it's written well, because it's always so unbelievable when something that just a yokel reader could figure out, the smartest people in the lands and the books don't start to even question,
Mm-hmm.
And Shallan brings up that, Yasna, she is interested in the Shattered Plains, though. And then Shallan asks what the Voidbringers were, but Yasna just gives her some basic answers about Voidbringers, and then tells her to get back to her studies. Shallan says that she needs to go get a specific biography of Gavilar, and she heads off to go find it in the Palanaeum. But instead of going there, she goes to a different area in order to read about the Voidbringers. 2 hours later, Shallan is studying alone and still has not found anything concrete about the Voidbringers. And so she just gives up, and she's leaving to go get the biography that she had originally come here for. But then Capsule arrives and finds her. Because he had gone up to find her with Yasna, but Yasna told him, she's off going for this, so he went to go find Shallan. And they're walking together, and they talk a little bit of the Palanaeum, and Shallan wonders how much work it was to make this place. Capsule tells her it wasn't made, it's natural from the Almighty. But Shallan asks, well, what about the Dawn Singers? Didn't they make it? But he says this is not the sort of thing that the Dawn Singers did. The Dawn Singers, he tells her, were kindly spren that were sent by the Almighty to care for humans once they were forced out of the Tranquiline Halls. And Shallan brings up that Yasna has been studying the Voidbringers. She asks what they were, and Capsule says that they were a scourge and a plague. They were creatures of terrible destructive power, forged in damnation, created from hate. Shallan asks who made them, and he says that everything has its opposite. The Almighty is a force for good, so the Cosmere needed the Voidbringers to be his opposite. He tells her that led by the heralds and their chosen knights, the 10 orders called the Knights Radiance. They fought the Voidbringers in the Desolations. Then came Arahetium, the last Desolation, where the Voidbringers were cast into the Tranquiline Halls, and the Heralds followed to force them out of heaven as well. Shallan says there must be more to this, because Yasna's just digging so hard. Capsule says that she is doing it to prove the Voidbringers weren't real. She wants to prove that the Devotaries and Vornism are a gigantic fraud. And he just gets upset and goes on a rant and pretty much saying the Ardents are no threat to her. Why is she working so hard to destroy them?
I find his answers to these questions, just like before when Shallan was asking him questions, to be very frustrating because they're so vague, and it's like, oh, it was created through the magic of goodness or the magic of evil, and just this vague stuff that probably touches upon some real stuff, but like when he's actually trying to research it, it just infuriates the hell out of me. It really makes me feel like how Yasna probably feels talking to people like that. Because she knows, you know, you read all these old stories and stuff because there's glimmers of truth in it and folktales. But the way he just thinks, I have the answers, and then just reveals of like nothing specific with full surety, just triggers me so much. It drives me nuts.
Is that why you hate me?
You don't do that.
Oh, just
Oh,
when I
you
say
mean
my
with your theories?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's actually, that's a very good comparison. Your ships, I think, are the best comparison to that I've ever seen. Maybe that's why it specifically drives me so crazy. Because just to say, oh, the Cosmere needed evil, or there's good, the Almighty's good, so the Cosmere needed evil, so the Cosmere created it. I'm like, that's not an answer. Like, that seems like it's touching upon what could be a very interesting answer. But it's interesting that some people are okay with that, like especially more religious-minded people, spiritual people. That answers the feeling they need answered. But more scientifically minded people like Jasna, that drives them fucking insane. And I can see the rift between the two. And I'm curious to see how he's going to bridge that, because I think that's going to be a theme in the long run.
I like the explanation. It felt very like a religious answer, you know,
Mm-hmm.
where the end product is you get people to do good and stuff. You teach people that it's our responsibility to do good,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the point of the religion, you know. So I thought it was interesting to learn it through the a religious point of view.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I always like seeing that. I want the information, so this hippy-dippy stuff drives me nuts.
All right. And then Shallan tells Capsule that she's leaving. She says that she got news from her family, and he asks for a sketch from her before she goes because he has not gotten one yet. So they begin heading to Yasna's alcove together because Shallan had left her drawing things there. And he asked if, will you go home, get your stuff taken care of, and then will you continue your wardship? And she tells him that Yasna's not going to be in Carbaranth forever. So even if I do go back to the wardship, I'm not going to see you. And he's talking, he's saying that the other Ardents felt like he was getting too close to her, and in courting Shallan, he also courted trouble. She tells him that she didn't ask for any of that, but he responds that she did not discourage it either. And Shallan thinks about how she is going to miss the research more than she's going to miss Capsule. And she sees a longing in his eyes and thinks, ah, shit, he must really be in love with me. She felt like she should have been falling in love with him too, but she did not think that she was. And then he tells her, hey, I can leave the Ardentia and I can go back to Yakaved with you. Shallan panics, and she's like, oh shit, he'll be low, and wonders how her family would react to her just coming back with some random-ass guy. And he can see from her reaction that, yeah, that's not an option. She apologizes to him, and she says that she's been dishonest with him, with Yasna, and with herself. And he's like, all right, but can I still have that sketch, though?
Sheta, do you still distrust him from these parts?
Do I distrust him?
Yeah, do you think that he's using her and manipulating her, and that the information that she's inadvertently giving him, he's going to be able to use against her still?
I didn't accept the moment when he kind of not slyly, but he asked her what Yasna was researching or was wondering it, and yeah, Shallan just says, "Oh, it's Voidbringers," and he was like, yeah, pensive and thinking about it. I think he is still doing that.
I
Like,
think he has some ulterior motive that we're not seeing that does have something to do with that. I don't think
mhm,
that we know what it is yet, though. And I think it's probably tied to the whole order.
mhm.
But you do not think that he's specifically like this stuff she's saying to him about, oh, I've been lying to you, I've got to leave, and like revealing too much is going to bite her in the ass because he's actually evil, right?
Yeah, I
Like
still
he
don't
already
trust him
stole.
to answer
Oh, you
you.
still
Yeah,
don't trust him?
yeah.
Because to me, the way he was acting like quite a loser here made me trust him more because he just came off as so pathetic and sad in a way
He
that she barely seems to pick up on to me, you know?
he does act like kind of like a loser, but he also that read to me kind of like a con man desperate at something he can't help now. He didn't wait, he wasn't prepared for her to say that, and so when that happens, you kind of throw the pathetic card out there too to try
So
to.
you think he's a bad con man if he's a con man? Is that what you're
No,
saying?
I think he played it off good because what can you do, and I think he does want to keep tabs on her. So
Oh, you
like
think he wants to keep tabs on her, like he knows about her power or whatever and connection
yeah,
to
her
stuff?
power, her power
Jeez.
and her even like having the soulcaster, I think he may know a lot, and like just to go all the way to saying I want to go with you, that just gave me a very dangerous feeling, like.
That's interesting. I didn't think of that, but when you say that, the fact just from the writing point of view, when she says, "I don't even know if I like him all the way, but he likes me so much," thing,
Mhm.
I wondered where's that going to go. That's pretty sad. But if it's that he's actually totally evil and bullshitting her and is just trying to keep tabs on her because the church knows she's like Jesus or some nonsense like that or whatever it's going to be,
She's got the
that
sight, yeah.
she's got the sight, that would be pretty interesting.
hmm Every time they insist on getting a drawing from her, I just get so suspicious because I'm like, they have to know that's a thing, I don't, I don't know. That might be an
I'm
old
not
thing.
convinced, but I love the
Mm,
theory.
Yeah. I just think there's so much stuff with the arts and things like the span reads and stuff like that, like there's always kind of magic around that kind of thing that I think other people have to know too, and Shallan just doesn't know.
Uh,
So
I feel like since Spren come up from every emotion and everything, if they're coming from like the spiritual world or the other side or where other things is, it's interesting to think that like stuff like art and stuff people do would be a way to connect to that only those people would uniquely have. I want to see what it looks like when somebody sits and writes a book, what kinds of spren come out.
Probably creation spread because
Yeah,
Shallan's seen
I'd
those
like
when
to
she's drawing.
she has. That sounds so interesting to see.
yeah.
When they get up to the alcove, Shallan sees a basket of bread and jam that he had left, there, and Yasna has not touched any of it. So Shallan, she gets ready to draw. She takes a memory of Capsule and then begins drawing him. And, he thinks that he has to keep holding the same pose, which she's fine with because that means he's not talking. And she's holding back tears while doing the drawing. And she wonders why she is the one that's holding back tears when she was also the one that just rejected him. After she finishes it and gives him the drawing, he tries to pay her, but she tells him, no, this is a gift. But he's adamant to pay her, and so he decides, how about I'll commission a drawing of the two of us together?
That was just sad. I thought like, she's gonna leave. He's gonna have this drawing of this girl who rejected her sitting with him. It just felt so sad to me.
Or a sneaky way to get a picture of her to keep.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I've got that kind of like, let's take a selfie so I can have a picture of phone. No thanks.
So Shallan has him hold a mirror up, near his head. That way she can get the two of them together with that. So personally, I do find it funny where he does this, and instead of like sitting next to him
Mm-hmm.
and looking at a mirror and doing that, she's like,
hold this up near you. I don't want to actually sit near you.
Yeah, that's part of the sadness too. Like, I was hoping to do like a little moment, but you're gonna pretend this thing that never happened. That's weird to me.
We're just gonna Photoshop it together.
And then I'm like, why didn't he think, wait, why did I pose like that all that time if you can just BS a picture like that?
I didn't tell you to pose.
Yeah.
Happened. So she begins drawing the picture of them two together, and while she's drawing, she's thinking, maybe there is a way that I could save Carbranth. You know, the ship's gonna be here. Maybe I could just send the Soulcaster back to my brothers on the ship in like a package and stuff. And then I could stay here and keep studying. You know, sure, I can live with the guilt of stealing it day by day. And she thinks about how, you know, she's changed and she didn't really know who she was until after she had left Yakaved. And then Shallan freezes when she notices the simple-headed figure that she had drawn behind Capsule. All the pressure she had been trying to keep away while drawing returned. And she just says, I made a mistake while drawing. Which makes Yasna look up. And Capsule offers, well, it's fine. Just have some bread and jam. We can do another one. And Shallan just says, no, I have to leave. And she rushes out of the room.
Fucking shady shit right there. I wanted Jasna to see the picture so bad. I just wanted her to see it and be like, why are you drawing the Voidbringers I've been researching all this time, and do something like that. I was so sad we didn't get that.
Yeah.
And so Shallan's rushing back to her room. She gets into a lift, and as she's going down the lift, she looks up at the empty landing, takes memory of it, and quickly draws it. And her drawing shows a couple simple-headed figures watching her go. And one thing, it's not in the hardcover version of the book. It was put into like the front page, I think, of the trade paperback. I don't know if that's paperback, but they included an image of that, which I'll put there for you too.
I wanted to see that so badly.
Yeah, so not every version of this book has it.
Yeah, those are cool. I like these things.
Ooh, I like that.
I had trouble visualizing these, so I really enjoy this.
I want to include my version. Well, not
You
now.
drew some?
No, but I had a different image in my head. So.
Oh yeah, draw it. I want to see it. These look like something out of Grant Morrison's Doom Patrol, like the Scissormen.
Shallan keeps running. She's running through a crowd, trying to get back, and she looks back in the middle of the crowd, takes another memory, and quickly draws it. And now there are 5 simple-headed figures walking through the crowd, focused on Shallan. And Shallan thinks,
drawing them. I'm like, are these like the Weeping Angels from Doctor Who? Like, they can only get close to you when you draw them. Otherwise, they can't interact with you or know you're there. Because I felt like every time she draws them, they're cartoonishly just a little closer to her. I was like, stop, no.
Shallan's thinking, maybe this is just all the guilt and the stress of what I did here and the things I did before leaving Yakaved. But part of her does believe that these things are real. So Shallan gets back to her room, she goes in there, closes the door, and she gets onto her bed. And while there, she's telling her, don't do it. But then she takes another memory and begins drawing. And now there are a couple simple-head figures in her room with her, with one of them reaching out towards her.
Oh my god.
And Shallan hesitantly reaches her hand out without looking, and she feels something. And Shallan at that point struggles to take the Soulcaster out of her safe pouch and put it on as a weapon, but then she thinks, no, that's stupid. I don't even know how to use it. But then she remembers she has another weapon and thinks, no, I can't use that because I promised myself. But then she began the process. 10 heartbeats to bring forth the fruit of her sin, the proceeds of her most horrific act.
What in the living god of fuck? What the fuck just happened here? And she just says this like, yeah, I know all about this. I've known all along, but you guys didn't. Like, what the fuck?
Never would have guessed that was her dark secret.
No. And whatever she did to achieve this, the fruit of her sin, I'm very curious to see. This girl is hiding something from us that I can't even imagine.
Yeah, I was like,
what's her dark secret?
We don't know.
She killed
But she's
someone.
got the secret of this. Well, probably. But she's got the secret of this weird ass fall into frickin' bubbles power.
What?
Well, do you remember what 10 heartbeats are connected to?
Yeah. She's got a shard blade, right? Yeah. Justin?
Elaborate.
Yeah, she stuck her hand out, and then that'll be summoned in 10 heartbeats and stuff. Shard blade or shard plate, I don't remember which one, but probably the blade since she wants to use it like a weapon. And so she probably killed someone who had it and took it, you know.
Oh, yeah, that seems obvious now. I was so distracted by what happens in 2 seconds that totally went over my head.
Yeah, oh. I thought that was... Of all the people who might have a shard blade secretly, I didn't think it was Shallan.
And then Shallan hears a voice ask her, "What are you?" And she puts her hand over onto her nightstand to try to steady herself, and she touches a glass goblet, and she whispers back, "I'm terrified." And then she hears, "This is true." And then her bedroom transforms into beads. And Shallan finds herself in a place with a black sky and a small white sun in the horizon, and she falls down into a sea of beads.
Yeah, that got real meta or really trippy really fast there.
And Shallan hears a voice asking if she wants it to change. She realizes that this voice is coming from one of the beads. It asks for what she has. It says that it will change, and she feels a warmth being drawn from her. And then Shallan falls back into her bedroom and onto her bed, and the glass goblet transforms into blood. Shallan hits the nightstand, and a glass pitcher falls into the ground and shatters. And Shallan realizes that she must have soul cast the goblet into blood, but she wasn't wearing the soul caster. It was still sitting inside her safe pouch. She wonders if the soul casting has to do with those symbol-headed figures. And then she hears Yasna from the outside of her door asking if Shallan's all right.
And she turned the frickin' goblet into the worst thing possible. Like, why couldn't she turn it into a banana or something you could explain easily?
Yeah, bowl of fruit.
Frickin', like, it would sounded like a shitload of blood.
Yeah. A blood's worth of a vase or whatever.
Yeah, I imagined it was just a small puddle, but then it describes it's leaking across the floor. It's going to go under the door in any second. It's like,
Probably
Jesus.
like 2 gallons of blood, you know?
Yep, and Shallan notices, that the blood's moving towards the crack under the door, so Yasna's going to notice it soon. And Shallan, she takes her sketch pad and hides it in her dresser because she thinks that, if these symbol heads do have to do with soul casting, then Yasna might see it, and she might know then that Shallan stole the soul caster.
I don't
And then
know.
Shallan
They
comes up-
obviously don't have anything to do with soul casting because she saw them before she even took it. I know she's in a frantic state. That's just me saying that.
And then Shallan quickly comes up with a plan, and she picks up one of the pieces of glass and slices her wrist. She lies down on the ground and pretends to be unconscious. When Yasna sees the blood under the door, she then forces the door open and enters the room. And Shallan's hoping, oh man, hopefully they don't search my safe pouch. They shouldn't, but hopefully they don't search and find the Soulcaster. Yasna then starts calling for help, and Shallan thinks, this is not going to end well.
No, it's not. And this is why you should never draw. That's the moral.
I'm scared.
Yep. Be careful, Sheta.
And that's the end of that chapter.
Yeah, that went very differently than I expected when I started, and it's just her talking to Capsule like every other chapter.
Yeah. I think it's an interesting tool that we have, because of what we've read so far, fallen into a routine or expectation of how these chapters go and what to expect. And then to have it just like flipped all of a sudden. It's like, aha, you didn't expect to see that here, you just thought you'd see more jam and stuff. Nope, it's blood this time.
I wonder why blood. Did it say anything in there that said why it would turn to blood? Why that's what she'd turn it into, or it would change into?
I wonder if it's like related to her feelings about how she got the sword.
Yeah, it has to be. She had to be thinking of blood when somebody was killed. Yep, that makes sense. That's funny. The idea that you could turn it into blood, we don't know that it's human blood, but that's kind of creepy. Like, what else can you turn something into? Can you change something into a person if you had enough knowledge of what you were doing, Or change enough separate things into the parts of a person and then put them together like a Frankenstein?
Are we even sure if there aren't any of those kind of inventions out there right now?
Who do you think is that?
Like the Parshmen? Parchment and the Parshendi are really interesting. Their modeled
Maybe
skin might
yeah.
be like,
Go ahead, sorry.
like marble,
And you're saying
like a
that's
rock.
why they don't have their song because they have no soul. They're just homunculi.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe somebody would have had to make a lot of them though. And it seems like they can breed. Can you breed without a soul?
I don't think they can breed, but there is a lot of rocks out there.
Well, then how do they get more of them?
Rocks? You
No,
just
how
make them
did
out
the
of rocks.
Alethi get more of them? The Alethi don't make. You think the Alethi make them out of rocks? You think somebody's just like been making them
Someone's
and
making
not
them.
telling anyone? Huh?
Yeah.
I
No,
don't
I
believe
think
you could
that
make it out of one rock. No way you could turn something that simple into that complicated.
I
Now,
think
I have
so.
no idea. I have no idea whatsoever, but if this is connected at all to the magic from the stamps, where they convince something to turn into something else,
Mhm.
then it would say that you couldn't just turn a rock into a person. That would be too complex, I
Well, it's
think.
not that simple. I think it's more like involving the magic of the spread and stuff. And I don't think humans are able to make it. I think that there's a set amount of Parshman in the world and Parshendi in the world that are from a long time ago, and that they're just still here, and we're just messing with them.
See, I don't believe that about the Parshmen because in a chapter or two, they put one on a bridge crew. I don't think you'd ever waste one on a bridge crew if there was a
I
finite number of them.
I think that they don't understand what they're doing, and I don't think they fully
Yeah, but where do
appreciate
they come
Parshmen.
from in your theory?
Well, in here they just think they're a race of people. So I think they don't really
Yeah, but where
care.
do they go grab them from? That's what I'm trying to say.
Just the streets wandering around, I think.
Just wandering around, nobody knows where they
Yeah.
come from. I don't
Uh-huh.
know if I believe that. We'll see, but I don't think I do.
I'm sure someone up top knows, but regular people seem to just think that they're from somewhere and they're really good servants. Like there's no question beyond that. And some reason like the
I
people
can
in
be
this world.
convinced that they're made out of artificial means. I still think they can breed. That's all I'm saying. Actually, have we ever
Breed?
seen a female one? I don't know if we have, actually. Because we've only seen, like, servants and shit, right?
We've never seen kids either.
Well, we haven't seen any Alethi kids either. Not in
We've
the
seen
modern day. I
Kaladin.
guess we have in the past. Yeah, we did in the
Kaladin and
past.
Tien are kids.
Yeah, but did we see them have the birth happen? That's what I'm saying. You have about as much evidence for that as
Oh,
you do
you
for
want to
the other
go
theory.
all the way to the beginning?
I'm
Like,
saying you have about the same amount of evidence.
I
I
think
like the idea that they're...
as
No,
long
as
as
long as there's what?
kids grow up, that means that time passes and they grow up. So they must have been a baby before they were kids. That's my.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I'm not arguing
Then
that at
there's no
all.
argument about there not being kids or not being babies and stuff.
I'm sorry, am I talking to an ardent again? Is that what's happening?
Me?
Yeah, you said before. Is that why I get so frustrated with you
Oh,
or with your theories?
yeah.
I do wonder because the line of, what are you? Oh, you want me to change? Okay, I'll change. That all seems very, very, very similar to the magic in Emperor's Soul to me. With the, like, you need to finesse the thing, you need to talk to it and convince it that it's this other thing.
I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
I mean, soul casting and those are soul stamps. So
hmm Whether there's any connection or it's just a similar idea led from one to the other. I'm sorry, when was Emperor's Soul written, Joe? We're reading these in release order, correct? Or I don't remember.
Not exactly release order. Let me
Was it written before or
double
after
check.
this? That's my question.
Emperor's Soul after. That was 2012, and Way of Kings was 2010.
Okay. So who knows?
One thing I like with the Shallan chapters is, like, all our chapters in part one are, like, how Shallan stuff just slowly gets crazier and crazier. Because it starts off, you just have this plucky girl, like, seeing the city for the first time, all this. She meets Yasna, then after, like, a couple chapters, and it's like, there's Yasna. I'm here to rob her. It's like, oh, okay, I did not expect that. Then you get a little bit more of her trying to get in, then she finally gets in his reward. We skip an entire part, and then the very first chapter of part 3 with Shallan, she's there, and then that's where she draws these weird symbol-headed things while drawing a picture of Taravangian. So it just goes straight to, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah, I guess
You
we
get,
should be expecting that by now. I don't know why we were surprised.
and it just keeps building. You get, oh, and now she's here, and Yasna's using her soulcaster to start killing a bunch of people. And all right, Shallan, she's starting to hear whispers. And now this one, she's being like hunted down by these things, drawing them, being like, oh my god, what the fuck's going on? She falls into all these beads. It's just her things just kept escalating each time she gets a chapter.
Makes me very
And
curious to see what we don't know about her weird family, if we don't know this much about her.
Right. Anything else from this chapter you two want to go over?
Yeah, I deeply enjoyed the bead thing. It was very, very, very strange, very unexpected. I'm sure you've got theories about it, Sheta. I do too.
Yeah.
It was interesting to see something so surreal and fantastical and magical happen, because so far this story has been very, very, very grounded. Even the magics they have are kind of pretty easily explained through some kind of pseudo fantasy science, it seems. So it's interesting to see that. It's interesting to see that whatever the swords are, it seems they have some connection to the soulcasters. Like, all this stuff seems connected. So I'm very curious to see where that'll go.
I feel so betrayed because we thought we were seeing Shallan's private thoughts and stuff when she's trying to learn how to soulcast, you know? But she never mentions, like, or maybe she does and we just didn't know it. She never mentions that it might be like drawing out the sword and stuff, you know? Like, if I was her, I would totally go to the same area for something like that, you know?
It seems to me, on the way she thinks, that she suppresses whole sections of her mind from herself, you know? Because even in the book, when she starts to touch upon those memories, she shuts it down in her head very quickly, you know?
Yeah. Maybe she's like more messed up in the head than we realize. She's just
I
pretending
think
to be a
so.
normal girl, but she has
Yeah.
like all these dark secrets and she's mentally
Even keeps from
unwell.
herself. Yeah.
And she's in denial about all these things. And her
Mhm.
family's fucked up. How did we not guess that she would be messed up
Yeah.
too, you know?
Uh-huh. Just the fact that she draws these things and she thinks, oh, they must be tied to my own guilt and feelings of stuff. And you're like, those. You think you came up with those out of nothing from your own feelings of guilt? How messed up do you think you are to come up with that, you know?
Yeah.
Incredibly specific, nightmarish design.
And I wonder if that is not the first time that's happened to her, you know?
That is a good question.
She has like excused and dismissed and denied those things happening.
Yeah. And I'm hard on her for being like, last second, she's like, maybe I could stay, maybe I could do. But if she's got this much of herself repressed and shielded away, she's not a logical person. She just can't be, because she can't think about anything, you know? So that might explain a lot of what I've been frustrated with her for some of her very poor planning at this whole plan.
Yeah. Maybe like, I was like, I had no idea who you were actually, you know? Like what kind of person you were, and like to be actually this incapable of doing what you're trying to do and stuff, you know? We were too hard on her.
No, I wasn't. You were. I was never
We
mean
were
to her.
all too hard on her.
I only ever thought she was bad at being a thief and a con artist. That's not an insult. That's a compliment.
I've always liked Shallan. Even my first read, I liked Shallan.
I don't
Yeah,
know. I
Sheta,
think it was
don't
what
drag us
happened.
in with this.
All right, anything else you want to go over in this chapter?
Sorry to go on. I did like learning about the Voidbringers a bit, and from Capsule's point of view, like how they're not really like, oh, never mind. Just forget it.
Never mind. No, I'm on the edge of my seat.
It wasn't anything, so never mind.
I want to talk about this so much. I just don't have anything interesting to say. So do it.
All right. Well, like that Voidbringers or Dawn Singers, like I think those were just names that humans gave to whatever these things are, you know, and that they're not good and evil, but they're more like fairies in the Scottish way that they think about fairies, you know, not evil or good, but just they are what they are, like nature in
Just
like
like
a
spring.
storm. Yeah, a
Is that it?
storm is not evil. It just is, in the destruction a storm causes is not evil or anything. It's just how it is, you know. So I
You
think
think, yeah.
their natures are just what their natures are, you know.
But what if your
Uh,
nature is evil? You know, like dark side, you know. His nature is just evil, and you wouldn't say, "Oh, I wouldn't attribute evil to him," you know.
Yeah, then those would be what we would call the void bringers, but even then everything has its place kind of, you know. Is
Oh, you think evil is, so that's kind of what Capsule was saying. Evil is a necessity in reality, right?
Yeah.
Are you saying you agree with him? Like good
No, I'm
cannot
just saying,
exist without evil, just as darkness cannot exist without light?
yeah, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And I really liked the bit about humans being able to do both because of our duality. So, you know, it's up to humans to do more good than evil, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I like that as the aspect of their religion, like I already said. Also unrelated, but kind of related. I think that the voice actor does a really hot Capsule voice.
What? Unrelated. So the duality of man and good and evil is a fascinating thing, and what it means for reality and spirituality. There's much to be said. On a related note, I think Capsule sounded fucking dripping with oozy sex when he talks. Oh my god, I could listen to that
I did
velvety
not
voice
say
all
that.
day long, lecture me about religious morals.
Don't put words in my mouth, Justin.
That's just what I heard.
She just does this it just really took me off guard. She does this kind of deeper chest voice for Capsule and then a more feminine voice for Shallan, and I just was like, I really believe that Capsule exists and that he's very hot.
And that he's very hot. Oh my.
All right, so the name of this chapter was Shadesmar. So why do you believe that was chosen for the chapter title?
What's a new word? Um Something about things in the shadows, a shade mar, maybe
I
that's
don't
the
know.
name of what these creatures are, you know?
That sounds very familiar to me, but I can't place it. Maybe
You've
it's
never
just
heard that
familiar
word.
from this chapter. It still sounds familiar. I'm gonna
Justin, you
guess
have
that's the realm she fell into. That's my only guess. It's the Mar of the Shades.
You're
That's
just
my only
copying
guess.
me, but
Well,
in
it'd
a
be the
dumb
same
way.
thing that Gaz sees out of the corner of his eye in the blackness, you know. And somebody else made reference to something like that. I forget who.
Well, Kaladin
So that'd
went
be
there.
my guess. Kaladin went there?
Yeah, in the storm.
When?
In the storm.
Remind me. I don't.
It
I know he
blacked
saw
out all around
darkness.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the same realm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. I remember what you're talking about. Yeah, it was
Mhm.
like an unnatural blackness when he was
Yeah, there's
supposed
just
to just
all
die, right?
silence
From the
and
storm.
darkness.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still think it's the name of the creatures. Not.
I think it's the name of the place.
I don't know. Doesn't seem spooky enough of a name for the place. But I could see that. It sounds kind of more city-like.
Yeah, was it Shades Mar or Shades Mare?
Mar.
Shadesmar.
Was it just a pun? Was it just a horrible pun for a nightmare, but with shade? All right, I see the spelling there. That's better.
No, it's the shade of Kelsier's dead wife, Mare.
Yep, that's it. It's all coming together.
All right. So now let's move on to chapter 46, Child of Tanavast. Epigraph. Though I was due for dinner in Vaden City that night, I insist upon Kholinar to speak with Tivbet. The tariffs through Urithiru were quite unreasonable. By then, the so-called Radiants had already begun to show their true nature. Following the firing of the original Palaneum, only one page of Turksim's autobiography remained, and this is the only line of any use to me. Alright, so this is a Kaladin chapter. And we began, and Kaladin dreamed he was the storm. And as the storm, he sees the continent coming, and he goes over the shattered plains, and they are much larger than he expected them to be. And the plains appeared as if something large had hit the land in the center and just shattered it. And he could see a symmetry to the plains. And in the center of them, he saw a large plateau with some lights on it. Someone must live there. And he continues across the land, and he goes over to Alethkar. Eventually goes over some mountains with people living on top, and he figures that, oh, these must be the Horn Eater Peaks. He goes over a land with some people who have darker skin like Sigil. And, another land, he sees some people with like faint blue veins underneath their skin. And he's seeing all sorts of different areas, different cities, and how they're all made. And up ahead, Kaladin notices some light bursts just forming in strange patterns, and he heads towards it. He gets to a city, and, he's a storm, so he's just going fast. He can't really slow down. And there's a building, so he throws open the door, goes into it, and he goes past some people with golden hair. And then he gets a glimpse of a bald Shin man wearing white, holding a sword, and standing over two corpses. And this man, he almost seems to look back and see Kaladin.
Oh, that's a fun one. That one took me off guard.
So this is actually the first crossover that we get.
And then, and if you can put it together, because Kaladin was going by people with golden hair. We've heard the Eerie people mentioned as having like golden hair. So this is likely taking place in Eerie. And then after Kaladin crosses the entire continent, he hears a voice. And the voice says, "Child of Tanavast, child of honor, child of one long since departed. The oath pact was shattered. Men ride the storms no longer. The oath pact is broken, child of honor." And then the face that Kaladin had seen in the high storm before appears, before him again. And then it continues. "Odium comes, most dangerous of all the 16. You must go now." Kaladin tries to ask him why there must always be war, but the voice only responds, "Odium reigns."
That's why there must be war. This Odium guy sounds fun.
And then Kaladin wakes up and he's being held down on the floor by Bridge 4. Moash tells him they tried to just walk out into the storm. And Sigil tells him that he would not wake up and he was having some sort of fever dream. But Kaladin says that he feels fine. He does have a slight headache, but then a light from the only sphere in the room goes out and his headache goes away. And the bridgemen, they go out into the rain and begin washing themselves with soap. Many of the bridgemen line up near Rock and have him give them a shave with his straight razor. And Kaladin, he decides to join in, and Rock shaves him clean. Afterwards, Kaladin thinks that he should have done this weeks ago. Sigil tells him that it suits him and that he has a leader's face. Kaladin says that he has no light eyes, and Sigil notes that he seems to hate them so much. Kaladin responds that he hates their lies, and that he used to believe that they were honorable.
I just need to know what happened to make him.
Were you pissed in the next couple chapters when you think you're about to know and then you don't?
Yes, yes, I was. I just need to know that. It's just so long now that he flipped and we don't know when that happened. And
I think I know what happened.
Well, tell me later.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, in theories.
And Sigil asks if Kaladin would cast them down and rule in their place, but Kaladin says no. He would be happy to punish them, but he has no desire to take their place. And Moash joins in and says that he would join them in a heartbeat. He says that if he was the one in charge, the Light Eyes would be the ones working the mines and running bridges. And Sigil decides to tell them about the land of Babatharnum. He had visited this land before with his master. He mentions that, there they have patterns of blue veins underneath their skin, which reminds Kaladin of what he had seen in his dream. And Sigil explains that their ruling class is set up by having the oldest rule, with the king being the one called the most ancient. And Sigil's yep, it's fair enough. Right now, the Manakvaka dynasty has reigned for the last 50 years. The others are confused how you can have a dynasty in this sort of system. Sigil's well, it's easy. Anyone who gets old enough to challenge them, they just get assassinated. He says that no matter where you go, you'll find people that abuse power. And Sigil tells Moash that if he overthrew the Light Eyes and took over, that things will happen just simply to other people. Moash shakes his head and says, "No, I'll change the world." He tells them that he came to this war and joined up to get himself a Shardblade, and he still means to do it. He had joined the army, and a couple that had joined with them were sent to part of the army, but most of them were just sent to bridge crews instead.
That fucking sucks. That's bullshit. You join up like normal and you still wind up in a fucking bridge crew.
Yeah, technically, Moash is not even a slave.
Mm-hmm. That's
That's
horseshit.
terrible.
Sigil asks if he really believes that they would let him have a shard blade, and Moash tells him that any man can win one. If you kill a shard bearer, then it's yours. It's the law. Kaladin tells him, well, that's only if they follow the law.
What is he talking about?
You
Okay,
don't think you have
sorry.
enough to work with?
No, I just mean, why would he say that? Never mind.
And Rock tells Sigil, I've seen your kind before. No, not Asius. The kind of people that visit other lands until they have seen. What was it called? Oh yeah, World Singer. And when he hears this, Sigil freezes up, and he just walks back into the barracks. And Dunny's just like, what the hell, man? He was going to tell me about where I came from. Because with the color of my eyes, he said I must have some, like, Vaden in me. And I love how Rock's just like, oh, then we must be cousins. There's even some Vadens that are kind of cousins to us. They have red hair. And I'm just thinking, we know a red-haired Vaden.
Shallan?
Yeah. And Kaladin has the men begin working on oiling their vests and sandals. And he thinks about how their numbers are getting smaller and smaller, and they need more bridgemen. An hour later, Kaladin sees that a new batch of slaves have come in, and he and Tef go and they talk to Gaz. And Gaz tells them that, yeah, I no longer make assignments, and that Brightness Hashal wants to do it herself. And Bridge 4, they do get one new member, and Gaz reveals that their new bridgeman is a Parshman. Tef's upset because, they are at war with the Parshman, but Gaz responds that, no, the ones we are at war with are different than our slaves. And Gaz, that this is an experiment that Hashal wants to try. And Kaladin thinks, well, if the Parshman just runs the bridge like normal, then it works for Hashal, because now they know they can run Parshman. But if the Parshman turns against Bridge 4 and refuses to run for them, or tries to kill them, then that also will work for Hashal, because she gets rid of Bridge 4. So Kaladin, Teft, and the Parshman, they head back to Bridge 4, and Kaladin thinks that, well, there is something that's lower than a bridgeman. A Parshman bridgeman. He thinks that this Parshman is a liability, and then he remembers some words from his past. Turn a liability into an advantage whenever you can. Which, we've heard that saying before when Lopin had joined and stuff like that.
Is it Tien that says that to him? In the
It just
past?
says a
We
voice
heard
from...
who said it.
We don't know? Oh, okay.
I don't think so.
We don't know a name, but it gave a one sentence hint. Yeah, it says, those words had been spoken by a man who cared only for his own skin.
I see. So Tien.
Yep, the end.
All right. And Kaladin, he asks the Parshman if he has a name, but the Parshman just doesn't respond. So Kaladin decides to give him the name Shen. Bridge 4 doesn't like it, and they believe that the Parshman will kill them in their sleep. But Scar's like, hey, this is good. We can just put him in the front and have him take an arrow. Sill's looking at Shen in sorrow. But Kaladin says no, that Shen is one of them now. He doesn't care what he was before, but they are all now Bridge 4. Teft asks Kaladin, what about our plans? Kaladin says, we'll proceed with them. We cut to a little bit later, and Kaladin, he's walking to the war camp while thinking. Sill says that he looks troubled. He says that getting the bridgemen out of the camps is as large of a task as he's ever faced before, and he has always failed in the past. But Sill tells him that it will be different this time. She can feel it. And Kaladin says that he survives every time while everyone else dies. It's a pattern that is getting harder to ignore. She suggests that, well, maybe the Almighty's preserving you for something.
I feel that would be something that would piss Kaladin off more than anything. If he found out that the Almighty had been preserving him and letting everyone around him die horribly for some purpose, I think that might turn him against the Almighty. That's not really an optimistic thing for a guy like that.
What if it was for a really good purpose?
Well, unless that purpose is to die saving the world, I don't think it would work.
That seems like something the Almighty would do.
I don't even know the Almighty. But you mean the same Almighty that castrated Sazed and put him through a hellish nightmare life just so he could be in the exact mindset and place he needed to be in order to become a god of that world? Is that kind of what you're saying, Sheta?
God works in mysterious ways, Justin.
Yeah, I guess.
It's not our place to question.
Also, in that case, I don't know if preservation, that stuff too Sazed put him there, or if he just foresaw that stuff. And
I didn't say
put out the
preservation.
prophecies.
I didn't say preservation. I said the Almighty. Whatever Almighty is above all Almighties. Because we know there's something bigger than just this one world.
Yeah, the
Preservation,
cosmic god.
I don't know. Preservation did not seem to be an almighty. Preservation seemed to be a force, essence of that world personified into those who absorbed it.
We saw him. He was a redhead.
No, that was Ruin.
Was it?
Mhm.
No.
Ruin was the dead redhead we saw.
No, that
Preservation,
was
I believe we just saw as an outline that I believe he saw Ellen saw for like 2 seconds, and it gave him a teeny bit of hope and used the last of its power to do that. That's what I remember.
I thought that
of
guy
what we saw
was
of
the redhead.
Preservation. No, because that didn't have any kind of real. It was just like a wisp moving its hands.
Yep, so Sheta. So Justin's right. Ruin's the one that was the redhead that they saw at the hill with Ellen and Vin at the end. Preservation was described as short of stature, black hair, prominent nose that fell from the mist and slumped into the dead in the ash.
Oh,
Okay.
there you go.
So
I got
Ellen never
my-
saw it.
I see.
No, he saw a wisp of
Yeah,
form,
El-
didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah,
Not
Ellen
the
only
actual
saw like a
person.
Miss Spirit. Yeah, the body only fell after Ellen had walked away.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Tom. Kaladin asks Syl if she knows if the Almighty really exists. And she feels like she should know this one, but she just doesn't know. Kaladin says that he doesn't know if he believes. But if there is no Almighty, then maybe there is something else. A lot of the soldiers, they were superstitious and would talk about things like the old magic and the Night Watcher. He remembers that voice in his dream saying Odium reigns. And he asks Syl if she's ever heard of something called Odium. And in response, Syl hisses and then flies off into the eaves of the next building.
Syl is starting to frustrate me.
Why?
Because she knows stuff instinctually, but she doesn't know why. And so she'll just react all interesting. She'll know all this stuff. And she's not somebody who really shares it. And Kaladin doesn't seem that interested in learning about it. And when he does, she does stuff like this. It's super frustrating
I have
to
felt
me.
this from the beginning
Mm-hmm.
when there's all this stuff, and she's like, "I don't know." It's like, okay, well, this will be fun. Just enjoy the ride with her, I think, because we're not gonna get any real information.
No, because there's going to be some kind of real good payoff with her, I bet.
Yeah, like in the 7th book or whatever.
There's no.
And then Kaladin hears some shouting. He looks over and he sees a light-eye officer like throwing a whore down and then kicking her on the ground. Kaladin, he's
That
about
was
to step
quite
in
a
and intervene.
Did not expect that sentence as the next one after this odium stuff.
Kaladin, he's about to step in and intervene when 3 men in blue uniforms step up to the officer. And one of those men has blonde hair with black in it. And I need to ask, when did you two realize who this was?
Well, I suspected as soon as the officers stepped up that it was going to be either the father or the son.
I don't know. I don't really think too much ahead of things like that to guess when they're happening. So not yet. I didn't think it was anybody going to be able to.
So this blonde, black-haired man, he says, we can solve this without any anger or violence. He puts out his hand for a handshake, and the Sadius officer just spits on it. So then the blue uniform man summons a shard blade, and that Sadius officer just runs away, and the rest of the crowd, they disperse as well.
What a little bitch. Everyone loves a guy who can beat up a whore but is scared to fight a guy with a shard blade.
And so then this man, he helps the whore up and asks what happens. She says that officer refused to pay her because he claimed that his reputation made it a pleasure for her. When she insulted his reputation, that was the first time that he kicked her. And the blonde-haired man, he suggests that, next time you should get paid up front. He offers to escort her out of Sadius' camp. She offers herself to him free of charge. He says, that's tempting, but my father would kill me. And then the man, he looks over at Kaladin and calls him, hey, bridge boy. He tosses him an emerald chip and says to give word to Bright Lord Raryl Macarim that Adolin Kholin will not make their meeting today. Yep, and after Adolin leaves, Syl goes up to Kaladin and says that you rushed to help that woman. But Kaladin says that it was foolish, because all would have done was drawn the camp down on him and possibly have gotten himself and the woman killed.
Possibly.
But he does wonder.
No, for sure. 100%.
He does wonder, though, why did that Light Eye step in to help? What was in it for him? Kaladin begins to head back to the lumberyard, and Syl asks, aren't you going to do what that Bright Lord asked you to? Kaladin says, no, I wasn't asked to do it. I was just told. And he didn't make sure that I was going to do it. I earned this sphere from the sweat of the Dark Eyes that he exploits. Syl says that darkness, when he speaks of the Light Eyes, frightens her. He stops being himself when he thinks of them. And Kaladin thinks that he does not owe that Bright Lord anything. But then, the man did step up to protect the woman. But then Kaladin argues that, no, he only did that to embarrass one of Sadie's officers. And that's the end of the chapter.
I miss Adolin.
You do?
Yeah. He's just he's a fun character.
And I like this time because we've had like the three main stories of, Kaladin, Shallan, and, Dalinar Adolin. And this is the first time we really get like two of them colliding in person. We did get like the one Dalinar chapter where we talked to Yasna over span read, but not in person. But here we actually get Kaladin and Adolin interacting in person.
Yeah, that was really fun. And any theories I may have had about them happening at different times is now gone. Unless Adolin.
Why did you have theories about that? Why in God's name did you have theories about that?
Because I don't know. I don't remember. Something happened, and I was like, I wonder if they're even in the same era and stuff.
Oh,
I think
in
it's
the
just all
same
this
era.
stuff.
Oh my God! No. I'm glad they put that to rest. I didn't want to hear about that at all.
All right. Anything else from this chapter either you two want to go over?
I did want to see Kaladin fight that guy, kick his ass, and then get executed. I thought that would have been pretty funny.
Kaladin's gotten into enough fights where nothing came of it, so I was a little mad at him for beating up his bridge crew, though.
Beating them up?
He's all like coming out of his dream, and he's like flipping him and kicking him, and I was like, that's your friend, like, or I know it's your friend. I know.
I think he's got something similar to Dalinar.
Though. I was like, oh, you're
Do
gonna
we know
beat
if
up
Dalinar
poor
ever spent a night out in a storm? Have we seen that?
Not on purpose, not yet.
Yeah.
I think when he does, some shit's gonna happen.
No, I'm saying I think he did at some point, and that's why he's having these visions, and it's the same kind of thing.
No,
like
I think
even
when
if it
the
was
message...
on a technicality. What's that?
This is just theory stuff, so it doesn't matter. When Dalinar started being weird.
When he read the message?
Yeah. It's like a mental disease.
Like a mimetic disease? Is that what you're saying? Like you read something and then you get infected by it like an SCP?
Yep. It follows, but in your head with pieces of information.
Follows. Okay.
Yeah.
Instead of having sex, you read a piece of paper. Is that what you're saying?
Yep, you pass the message on.
I see.
And that's why men can't read. To keep them safe.
Yeah, could be. Honestly. That'd be an interesting one.
All right. So this chapter was called Child of Tanavast. So why do you believe that was chosen for the chapter title?
Again, with a word we've never heard before, right? Like, that thing called Kaladin a child of honor.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
I think, again, that Kaladin has the blood or history of something like that in him.
One of those ancient knights who was named Talavast.
Yeah. I think it's interesting because, sorry, I'm getting into theories again, so I'll just zip.
Well then, let's move on to our third chapter then. Chapter 47, Storm Blessings. It's a Kaladin flashback chapter. 1 year ago. It has been 4 years since Kaladin joined Amaram's army, and the army right now is getting ready for a battle. And Kaladin, he's looking eastward towards where his home is, which he can never return to. He can't face his parents after having broken his promise to protect Tien.
I didn't expect things to jump that far. I really thought we were going to watch like 5 chapters of him and Tien doing stuff together.
Yep, and Kaladin, he will re-enlist in the army in a few weeks once his current enlistment's up. And the battle they're preparing for is a battle against another of Lethe army, one that's trying to take some of Sadeas' land, because that's all they've been doing is defending the land from some other, Bright Lords trying to cut out some land for themselves. Or sometimes they'll fight some of them to take some lands for Sadeas, which Amaram says that was stolen from him originally. But out of all the Light Eyes, Amaram is the only one that Kaladin trusted. And then Kaladin, he meets with a man named Gare and says that he wants Gare's new recruit, Sen. And Kaladin, he gives him a pouch of spheres. Gare tells him that he doesn't like how everyone does what Kaladin tells them to do. Kaladin says that both of us know that boy is useless to you. And Gare, eventually he agrees and he takes the spheres. As Kaladin is heading towards the surgeon station, he thinks about his parents. He wonders what happened to them and what's happened with Rashon. He had sent a message to him using Amaram's scribes that he had failed and that he did not intend to return home. He did not get a reply. And Kaladin, he meets with Ven, who's the surgeons, and gives him some spheres. So that way that the surgeons, they will put helping Kaladin's squads above the others, as long as there are no Light Eyes that are needing help. And when he tries to take his sphere pouch off his belt, the pouch kind of sticks to him, and a little windspren flies away.
That was Syl. That's my guess. I think that seems pretty clear.
Cute. She lives in his pocket already.
Like she's been around for a lot longer than he realizes.
Yeah, I always suspected that, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, she knows him pretty intimately.
Yep.
I think, because this chapter, you'll quickly learn, it's pretty much chapter 1, but from Kaladin's point of view this time.
Yep.
And if you go back to chapter 1, when Sen was watching Kaladin fight, he thinks he sees Spren flying around Kaladin, so that was probably Syl too. And Kaladin, he gets back to his squad and he sees that Sen has arrived. And the horn goes off and the battle begins. We cut a little bit later and we're at the part of the battle where Sen has been separated from everyone else. And Kaladin, he goes to go find him. And he keeps thinking of the boy as Tien and has to keep reminding himself, no, it's not Tien, it's Sen. And he eventually finds Sen surrounded by spearmen and jumps in and kills them and saves them. And Sen, after they get back with the group, Sen points out, oh no, there's a shard bear here. But Doubt's like, no, that's just a light-eyed officer in normal armor. They would not waste a shard bear for something like this. Kaladin, he now finds that all Light Eyes represent Rashon to him. Only Amaram stood apart. Amaram, he always spoke with respect, treated, Kaladin and talked to his father Liren with respect. He was like Dalinar and Sadeas.
Good old Sadeas.
And Kaladin says, that officer over there, that's one of Hala's officers, so he could be the one. And he leads his squad against the officer. It was surprisingly easy to take him down and kill him. They almost always underestimate Dark Eyes. And that officer's honor guard, afterwards, they just run away in a panic.
More like dishonor guard.
Ooh. Sick burn.
And then Turam shouts at Kaladin, and Kaladin looks and he sees a man in shard plate with a shard blade riding a horse through Amaram's army. And this was where chapter 1 ended, was him seeing this shard bearer. So we continue, and the shard bearer immediately tramples Sen and slashes his blade through Dalit's head. And he keeps going through and just killing swaths of Kaladin's men right in front of him. And Kaladin, he runs over to Sen, and the boy was wheezing with a crushed heart. And then Sen says,
before when we watched Dalinar fighting them that it felt like playing Dynasty Warriors. It's very horrifying to watch Dynasty Warriors from the point of view of one of the other army people. You're just like, dear God, no.
The NPC getting trampled.
What it feels like is like when you're playing Battlefront 2 and you see Darth Vader has entered on the other side. And then you see him rushing at you, just slaughtering all of your teammates. And you're just one little rebellion guy and you can't do shit, That's what it reminds me of. So the idea that one of those little video game characters would try to put up a fight is very badass.
Or was it the first Battlefront on the first original Battlefront? I remember that one, the hero characters that could join, they were also unkillable in that game.
Yeah, that's not as fun. I like with enough guys you can take Obi-Wan down. Otherwise, it's too much.
But it was terrifying when you're there and you just hear Darth Vader's breathing. You're looking around, it's like, where the hell is he? Right. Then Kaladin, he's at Sen's body, and then Sen says he watches the Black Piper in the night. He holds us in his palm, playing a tune no man can hear, and then dies.
How often does this kind of cryptic shit happen when people die? But people don't seem to question it more. Kaladin's seen 2 of these now that we've seen.
Yeah, I wonder if that's a well-known thing, that people say weird stuff at the end. 1 foot in the void. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, also, both times Kaladin heard it, it was kind of in a very stressful situation, so you might not fully
but that's what
remember.
I'm saying. Is this a common thing that happens a lot, or is it a rare thing? That's what I'm asking.
Someone's keeping tabs on that. Whoever
Mhm.
is doing that research. Yeah, but this is what happens when only half your population can read and write, No one really cares to study things, or no one has time to study things, or anyone who might be interested in that could be hindered,
Mm-hmm. You saying, Sheta, you don't think it's a good idea to have only half your population read?
Yeah.
And Kaladin stands up and he looks at the Shard Bearer, who is currently charging towards Amram. And Kaladin, he's just angry, and he decides to lead the rest of his men on a charge. And they are the only ones running towards the Shard Bearer. The rest of Amram's army is running the other way. Even Amram's honor guard have abandoned him. And the Shard Bearer just swings his sword, kills Amram's horse, causing him to fall, and the horse lands on Amram's leg, breaking it. And the Shard Bearer gets off his horse, he goes over, raises his shard blade, and is about to kill Amram. And Kaladin hits him in the back with his spear, which just winds up shattering his spear shaft, but the Shard Bearer does fumble forward. Kaladin's joined in, but the Shard Bearer, he keeps swinging his shard blade, and he just kills them with ease. Kaladin is enraged, and he rushes forward. Shard Bearer is trying to hit him with the shard blade, but doesn't do anything because Kaladin is dodging the swings of it. He has a dagger, he tries to attack with it, but the dagger does nothing against the shard plate. Kaladin thinks that there must be a weakness somewhere, and then he spots the small little eye slits in the helmet. He runs forward with the new spear he had picked up. The Shard Bearer slices off the top of the spear, and then Kaladin throws his knife at the eye slit. The dagger hit it slightly off the correct angle and bounces off. The Shard Bearer curses and prepares to kill Kaladin with his shard blade, but Kaladin spots the spearhead in the air, and he manages to grab it and slam it into the Shard Bearer's visor slit. The 4 members of Kaladin's squads that are still alive just go silent. The Shard Bearer falls to the ground, dropping his blade, and his armor just begins falling off his body in pieces. And Amram's watching in shock, and Korob tells Kaladin to take his shard blade. Kaladin moves his hand towards it, but it felt wrong. If he took it, then he'd become one of them, and he could almost see the blood of his men on the blade. Men would trade kingdoms for one of these, but the thought of touching it just sickened Kaladin. So he turned away and tells Korob that he's given it to him. As he walks past Amram, Amram asks what he is doing. Kaladin tells him that he doesn't want the blade. He's given it to his men. And that's the end of the chapter.
Well, that
BS.
was badass. Badass as fuck, yeah. You think that's BS, Sheta?
Yes.
Why?
Oh, I'm gonna get some pushback on this, but I just do not believe Kaladin wouldn't take the shard blade.
Even though he hates
I get
Light
it
Eyes
that
now?
doesn't matter. It's not about it's a weapon and it's a tool, and I don't believe someone whose fingers tingled at a spear wouldn't feel the pull of that sword and the power of it in that moment.
Well, wouldn't you say he did feel the pull of it? And then the other side of him chose against it?
If my other theory is in there, then maybe,
You can't add a theory into it.
Well, if he is, I think, truly half on his, I'm quoting good and evil,
God damn it.
What? Then
You can't
maybe
just make up random stuff and then apply it into what we're reading.
We have it here. We have a, Dawn Singers versus Voidbringers, and that's in Kaladin. So I could see him, being torn between that, but I just don't believe he wouldn't just take
Well,
the sword.
let me say it this way. I felt that he said pretty explicitly why he didn't take it, and it actually didn't have a lot to do with his hatred of Light Eyes. It had to do with how he earned it right there. And the way he earned it was by having all his men be slaughtered right in front of him, and
He
that
didn't
he
have
would
them be
feel...
slaughtered. Sorry,
He
go ahead.
even said that. He said he could only see the blood of his men when he was reaching towards it, He watched everyone just get slaughtered by this guy right in front of him. And then
get
while
it.
they're
I
being
get
slaughtered, he's
it.
able to...
I think even then, as someone who has seen a lot of death and stuff, I just don't think that's enough to have. This is the dream of every dark-eyed boy in that entire world, is to get a shard blade. Everyone wants one. They even say kingdoms are
Yeah, they
given
did say
over
that.
just to get one. So I just think it's too valuable to just leave like that. And that the only way I would have accepted him leaving it was if Tien would have been killed right there, and that maybe his will
Tien
and
was
his
killed right
reason.
there.
Huh?
Tien was killed right there, right in front of him.
No,
In his
he
mind.
wasn't.
Yes, he was. He called him Tien multiple times. He's
Yeah,
haunted by
but
this thing.
he is, but he wasn't. I just don't believe that. Yeah, I just wanted more reason for him to not take it.
Well, he will become the man he hates if he takes it. And two, he
I get
he's
it. I
just
hear all
watched
that.
everyone die
I,
from war, which this is the metaphor for. And three, this was very tough for him, but it wasn't as big of an accomplishment as I think it would be in a lot of people's minds. He just killed this loser, And I think that the main reason is he thinks at least if one of his men have this shard armor, that person can be protected, from death, right? But if he has it, then everyone's just going to keep dying around him,
I still don't believe it.
Well, I hope they'll give you something in the next chapter with this to help you believe it, because I think this makes perfect sense for the character.
Yeah.
And I think it's super badass. Took this guy out in a blood frenzy, as we've been told that
That's what it is. That's what it is. It's too much written and makes sense that he wouldn't take it. And there wasn't enough reason for me to believe that he wouldn't, Because it makes sense. Because the story couldn't have just ended there with him taking it and then going on and stuff like that, That wouldn't be very interesting. Like, he had to not have taken it there, but I just wanted more to make me believe he wouldn't take it.
Mm-hmm. And I'm saying I hope that the next chapter will give you what you're looking for, because to me, I feel in the subtext stuff, there's enough that I completely... It just makes perfect sense with what I understand his character as right now.
Yeah, great. I get it.
I also like that there have been hints to this in the past. I think the one that was like the most like obvious hint would have been our chapters we did last week where Syl was asking Kaladin, is that why you didn't take the glory all those months ago? And he's like, no, it's something different. So
yeah, I think there's been a lot of like times where people are like talk about winning a shard blade, like just the chapter before when that other guy was talking about his dream to win one. That's been a really big thing, so I just didn't expect that to have happened a year ago.
Oh, was that recently?
Yep, this was a year ago.
Anything else from this chapter you two want to go over?
Just that I thought it was so badass, the description of how he took the guy down. I really liked the, he finds the weak point, he throws it and he misses thing, and he's like, I missed it. And you're like, no one in the world could make that shot. It's ridiculous that you'd even think you could. But then he gets to do it in the more badass way of slamming it in. I did not expect all that.
If I had a nickel for every time a main character in a Cosmere book grabbed something in the air and slammed it into their enemy's eye to kill them, I'd have 2 nickels.
It's a badass kill shot.
I think that we've always kind of guessed how good of a fighter Kaladin is from, I guess, a couple times he's fought, but I never really thought he was that good until this moment when he was dodging a shard blade, like over and over, like not getting a
Mhm.
scratch on him. And I was like,
Mhm.
geez, he's definitely something on another level, like,
Mhm.
because that's crazy. Like, you just have no chance with one. I thought he was going to get killed if something like outside of him didn't happen, but he just dodged it and then went in there with a stick. Like, I couldn't believe that. So
I think it's
that was
really
some,
interesting. Warrior characters who can go by instinct like that. I can't even imagine what that's like. I'm not a particularly athletic person, or quick thinking in that regard. So when it's described as like, the rest of the time you're seeing Kaladin's thoughts and feelings as all this stuff's happening. That description, you're not seeing any of that. It's just his instant reaction to what's happening, because anything less than that, and you'd get cut in half immediately, just like everybody else did. So I always enjoyed that a lot.
And I think it's pretty funny where, like, first time you're reading the book, you get chapter 1. At the very end, this person in shard plate and shard blade shows up, and then the beginning of the next chapter, Kaladin's a slave. So you think, oh, lost the shard bearer, became a slave. Then you see, no, he killed that guy.
Yeah.
And I also like the part where he's like looking at the shard blade, and he's just like, I can see the blood of all my men on there. When in reality, there's no blood on that blade.
Yep. But yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Like, he sees it as a weapon that slaughtered his men. Oh, just if he takes it, he's continuing the legacy of that blade as an instrument of murder. And Kaladin, who is a great soldier and great at killing people, seems to actually really hate war and the act of killing in general. Like, he does not seem to like it. And he wants to get out of this war zone to get to one that he feels would be more purposeful in the other wars that are going on, because at the time he thinks that war will at least have some meaning, where this one is just completely pointless. It's so stupid the way it's described. And I think it's sad that when he does get to that war later, it's just as meaningless to him. It's just such stupid shit, And then in his dream, when he's the Storm, he's like, why do we keep doing war? What's the point of any of this?
Kaladin confuses me. Sometimes when he's fighting and when he's rushing in and doing action stuff, he really shines and becomes, like, literally shines sometimes and becomes this super fighting person. And then other times he's like, why is war? Like very peaceful and anti-violence and stuff. So he's just confusing to me.
Well, he's got the body of a soldier and the instincts of a soldier with the soul and spirit of a surgeon, So, like, even in war, he tries to protect those around him. He's not he never seems that interested in killing his enemies, That seems more a thing you need to do.
He seems to always have to remind himself that you can't save people by killing them. And in that, I feel like then if that part was taking over him, then yeah, he would not take the shard blade,
Yeah, I think
Because
that's in there.
even if he could protect people with his new powers, all that weapon does is kill, like
Kill and build toilets, of course.
dig holes to poop in.
Dig holes, yeah.
All right. So this chapter was called Storm Blessings. So why do you believe that was chosen for the chapter title?
Because Kaladin is storm blessed, and the shard blade was a blessing from the storms.
I can't argue with that. That makes sense.
Yeah, they helped him win that.
The Storm did?
Yeah.
I wonder how many people have what Kaladin has, where they're protected, but they're not skilled enough to not die. I wonder.
And another thing with this chapter title, I think it also ties in with the chapter 1 title, because that one was called Storm Blessed.
Okay, so Kaladin Storm Blessed, and this was the Storm Blessing, sounds like you're saying.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
All right. So yeah, then we'll move over to our theories and predictions segment. I'll just have a couple questions. First will be with Shallan faking suicide. How's that going to work out for her?
I think Yasna's going to think, we don't know yet. Either she cut herself or tried to kill herself, But I think either way, I was thinking she's going to think, I guess I pushed you too hard. Your constitution's too delicate to have watched people be killed right in front of you. That's my theory. Like Yasna's going to feel responsible.
Take some time off, Shallan. Why don't you go home?
That would be such a blessing.
I think that's happened every time she's faced a difficulty. You know what?
Yeah.
Maybe Shallan is Stormblessed too, where these things
Yeah.
keep happening to conveniently help her do what she needs to do.
All right. And then next question. Moash was saying that he's here to win a shard blade. Will he get a shard blade?
No.
I believe he was in my Deadpool, so I don't think so.
A Moash is going to foolishly challenge somebody with a shard blade, die horribly. Kaladin's going to get pissed and do it in revenge, or against the guy to avenge him quick. That's my guess. Or kill the guy before he can kill Moash, maybe, and then get the shard blade himself.
And then Moash is
Don't-
gonna go, you kill Steel.
You kill Steel and fucktard.
All right. And you know what? I'll just ask the two questions. I'll open the rest up for open theory time.
All right. Well, I think it's pretty obvious that the essence of the goblet or whatever was talking to Shallan, asking what she was, or maybe other things were. She spoke with it and convinced it to change, and that's what soul casting is just learning how to communicate with these things to become something else. It's tied to the shard blade. I think it's got to be, like the same power achieves that. And then I think that the whole world is made up on like a subatomic, but not that level of these spheres, that everything is built off of them. That's what they look like beyond the veil. Like nothing is actually as solid as we see it. If you have the sight in the other world, that's what life and existence looks like. So kind of like an Adam's thing. How that's tied to the spheres they use to spend stuff on, I'm not totally sure. Maybe that's those made tangible in the real world. They're powered by the same storm energies that are charging up the spheres that Kaladin's able to absorb to stay alive. Maybe he just convinces his body to think it didn't die or something. I don't know. And I think that's what Yasna and all the soulcasters see whenever they use them. And I also think that, because men use them too, right? Didn't their butler use it? Or Shallan's butler guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, their
So maybe
steward
not, yeah.
was...
Mm-hmm. So that's my theory on the nature of reality based on what we've seen. And then these weird angle-shaped things exist out there. I do still think they're malicious. And I do think they're tied to whatever the dark side of reality is. So I think this is a darkness versus light story at the end of the day. The absence of existence and then what is the building blocks of existence put against each other. And it's not good and evil. It's reality and unreality, basically. And good and evil is just built off of that. Like good is to create and evil, darkness is to uncreate and destroy, which would be killing. So that's where I think the themes are going to go.
Well, that makes sense because many times the Voidbringers are called, destructors and stuff.
Mm-hmm. So in that, I don't disagree with you that they're not like evil creatures, but they are creatures of destruction. Kind of like maybe like Necron in DC, who represents death. He's not evil per se, but he wants to eliminate all life from reality because he wants to bring it back to before there was light and life. And so by that regard, he is the personification of all evil from a human perspective. That's kind of how I expect it to be. Why these things are so angular and messed up, I think is going to be because, like, whatever they are, they're not solid, tangible beings, but they try to become that. They need to interact with us. And this is the best that they can achieve. Like, shape and form is more simple for them. They can't understand it like we do. But then they have those really complex faces. So I don't know. Maybe there's something from outside of this whole reality.
They're
Some
aliens.
Lovecraftian, yeah, well, aliens in a way. I mean, more like Lovecraftian things that exist at the borders of reality, that this is just the closest we can perceive them. And then I think that Kaladin, he's going to give the armor to his man, and I think Amaran's just going to kill the man and take the armor. That's my guess, because the guy will not be trained or able to use Shardbearer armor that well. And so some kind of bullshit's going to happen where it gets taken by the one Light Eyes he weirdly trusts, And then because Kaladin knows about it, he's going to do something that pisses him off, that gets him into slavery, and that's when he's going to lose all hope.
The other ones?
I guess I kind of talked about how Kaladin has this, like, he's always splitting himself up into his two paths. He almost took like a surgeon or a warrior, and those are also like the same as the two, the Voidbringers and the Dawn Singers, who I thought it was interesting that Capsule called them healers and stuff, and like that's just so specifically what he was going to do, and what he wanted to do. Like he wanted to be a healer as much as he wanted to be a fighter. I thought that was interesting. I said his ancestry has that in them, but I don't know.
You think he's half Dawnbringer, half Voidbringer, Sheta? Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm. I don't know if they were humanoid or even able to do that kind of thing, or if they were people or creatures.
Don't you believe that these angle things are the Voidbringers?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're imagining that one of them might have done the nasty with one of those like valiant knights and then created Kaladin? Is that what you're saying?
I don't think it's the same way. I think it's the same way that things are kind of I don't know how to say it.
I know how to say it. We've got Sheta's ultimate ship, a Lovecraftian angular nightmare and a handsome valiant knight. She is officially shipped. The most messed up thing I think I've ever seen.
Or beautiful.
Yeah.
I also think these are just kind of things I liked and noticed. Was they, after the herald went away to Roshar's heraldic epics ended and mankind entered the era of solitude, the modern era. I thought calling it the era of solitude was very sad, because it was like when we no longer walked with God, like that really explains or also supports my theory of them not having God with them anymore, like that's why their shard plate doesn't work as much as they should and stuff like that, if that makes sense, if you remember that theory at all.
I remember.
Yeah. Okay. And then my other theory is that the library where they're studying is the lost city of Yakaved, the city that they're in right now.
Urithiru?
Yeah.
Because Yakaved's a country.
Come from? Oh, okay.
Huh?
That's the country Shallan's from.
Not Yakaved. Yeah, Urithiru. Yeah. Yep. Because they said that it wasn't marked yet, or they couldn't find the symbol yet. So it's just there. Maybe underground, but it's just there.
I have no theories about that city. Not a one.
Said it was the center of their world a bit,
Mm-hmm. I remember you saying that.
And I think that knowledge is the ultimate center.
Wow. Okay, G.I. Joe.
I just like a lot of the themes too. There's also a very big theme of depression and falling into a negative kind of black hole within yourself, and that, Justin, you said movement is the death of depression, and like when you move and you do something about it, it helps you get out of the depression. And Spren and those kind of, I think it's just Spren. Yeah, Spren are the embodiment of change and movement, and how Syl is helping Kaladin get out of his depressions is, I feel like, related to the magic and the power of that, because Spren are made when there's change and made when there's movement.
That's interesting. I don't know why I didn't really realize that, but they do seem to come up from changes and things. I do think the Spren are tied to the spheres that Shallan saw and the change that happened and the things speaking to her. I think the Spren are the personification of objects and feelings and things. But that connection to change I didn't think of. I like that quite a bit. That's interesting. Because especially they pop up around emotions, which change all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And fleet and disappear all the time.
Hmm. So I don't think it's as much. I think taking what you said further with destruction and creation, I think it's even more with the destruction in yourself too, of the letting everything you've built inside just crumble away to nothing, or trying to build something in you again to live and hope. So does that make sense?
Yep, I get it.
Yeah. All right, that's it.
All right. So now let's move over to our character of the week.
Kaladin killed a Light Eyes with like frickin' a spoon. He gets my character of the week.
Yeah, I gotta pick Kaladin too, just for being more badass than I thought he already was, by showing that he could do this like crazy feat. Like, people who have armor and weapons and even a shard plate can't hope to beat someone with a shard blade and plate, when they go to fight and they want to win one, they can't even hope for that then there. And Kaladin went out there with freaking sandals on or something, just freaking did it. I think that, yeah, he's definitely a badass.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, I think the normal spearman uniforms are just like a leather jerkin and maybe a helmet.
Yeah, that's crazy. To have the balls to do that, yeah.
Yeah, it's as much as I would want to pick Shallan, because Shallan's chapter is pretty cool and stuff, and I liked her in that. I have to go the same boat. It has to be Kaladin with the whole fight against the Shard Bearer. All right. And then for the quotes of the week.
Okay. All right. This is from Shallan. She dashed away, surprising several servants who had been approaching her to offer assistance. She ran, slippered feet slipping on the hallway carpets, eventually reaching the door to Yasna's rooms. Sketchpad under her arm, she unlocked it with quivering fingers, then pushed through and slammed it behind her. She locked it again and ran for her chamber. She slammed that door closed too, then turned backing away. The only light in the room came from the 3 diamond marks in the large crystal goblet on her nightstand. She got on the bed, then scrambled back as far from the door as she could, until she was against the wall, breathing through her nose with frantic breaths. She still had her sketchpad under her arm, though she had lost the charcoal. There was more in her nightstand. Don't do it, she thought. Just sit and calm yourself. She felt a growing chill, a rising terror. She had to know. She scrambled to pull out the charcoal, then blinked and began to sketch her room. Ceiling first, 4 straight lines down the walls, lines at the corners. Her fingers kept moving, drawing, depicting the pad itself held before her. Safe hand shrouded and bracing the pad from behind, and then on to the being standing around her, twisted symbols unconnected to their uneven shoulders. Those knot heads had unreal angles, surfaces that melded in weird, impossible ways. Oh, the creature was at the front was reaching 2 smooth fingers toward Shallan, just inches from the right side of the sketch pad. Oh, Storm Father, Shallan thought, charcoal pencil falling still. Oh gosh, I could keep going to when she felt something, but it's just a little bit more. The room was empty, yet depicted right in front of her was an image of it, crowded, full of sleek figures. They were close enough that she should be able to feel them breathing if they breathed. Was there a chill in the room? Hesitantly, terrified but unable to stop herself, Shallan dropped her pencil and raised her free hand to the right, and felt something. She screamed. This was horrifying. This was so scary to read. I could just
turned
see
into
it.
a totally different book.
Yeah, sorry. I just loved that part so much. Like, I felt it. Yeah, like Joe already said, it felt like a horror movie with the drawing it again, or like seeing it be drawn would be very. I just want to see this whole scene done. Oh.
How did the narrator do that part?
Really well. I think it was.
No, I mean, did he just narrate it the same, or was it like played up how horrifying it was?
It was not. It was. They do the emotions really well. Yeah, I think it was not played up like dun but it was like I think just reading it straight would still be it was still very scary. Yeah.
Hey.
Also not I don't know why, but like charcoal drawings always have this horror type aspect to them, so I think it's really funny to do it like this.
What other charcoal drawings are you talking about?
Well, like Babadook and things like that. Like it's
Oh,
just kind of a
okay. Scribbled
scary,
drawings, right?
haunting look and stuff. It's just black, very black.
Hey, my quote comes from when Kaladin's about to fight the Shard Bearer. Kaladin skidded to a stop, spinning, regarding the Shard Bearer. The creature wasn't a god. It was everything the most petty of Light Eyes represented. The ability to kill people like Kaladin with impunity. I thought that was very, like, I never really put that metaphor together, but I think that's what he's going for in the writing, is this power makes you so powerful and only the elites have it, and it just lets them do whatever the fuck they want and no one can touch them. And I think it's funny for Kaladin to notice that in the midst of battle and have that also be the reason that he felt like he could kill it, When it's this big unstoppable force, he's like, oh god, but when he puts it down at not just a human, but everything he hates about humans and how they abuse their powers, and then he's able to kill it, I found to be very interesting.
That's very interesting. That's almost like I've been fighting you my whole life.
Like everything built to killing this asshole.
Yeah. I did not see it like that, but now I can see that. The personified thing he's been fighting his whole life.
All right. And then mine, it's the end of the flashback chapter with Kaladin and the Shard Blade. Kaladin stepped forward, dazed, raising his hand toward the hilt of the blade. He hesitated, just an inch away from it. Everything felt wrong. If he took the blade, then he'd become one of them. His eyes would even change if the stories were right. Though the blade glistened in the light, clean of the murders it had performed, for a moment it seemed red to him, stained with Dalet's blood, Torum's blood, the blood of the men who had been alive just moments before. It was a treasure. Men traded kingdoms for shard blades. The handful of dark-eyed men who had won them lived forever in song and story. But the thought of touching that blade sickened him. It represented everything he'd come to hate about the Light Eyes, and he had just slaughtered men he loved dearly. He could not become a legend because of something like that. He looked at his reflection in the blade's pitiless metal, then lowered his hand and turned away. It's yours, Korib. I give it to you. I just like that whole thing because it's the blade. It's as he's saying. People would trade kingdoms for this. Everyone wants one. The logical thing would be take the blade, but to him, it represents everything that Kaladin hates. He hates the Light Eyes. He hates how they treat everybody, and he does not want to become part of that. Same thing when he's talking to Sigzil. It's like, I'll punish them, but I don't want to become one of them.
Yeah. These people are better than me.
Well, you also haven't been tortured by them the way he has.
I'd be like Moash. I'll get it and I'll make them pay.
Yeah.
All right. Now we have just a couple of comments from, one of our episodes. These are from The Way of Kings, chapters 36 through 40. First one's from Koval Petro 28. Good episode again. I can't remember if you guys do something like a best moment of the book in your wrap-up episodes. For example, like Vin killing Straff, or my favorite, Vin juggling horseshoes to fly back to Luthadel. Stormlight Archive has a moment like that in all the books, and a lot of people choose Syl fighting the Death Sprint as their favorite moment of Way of Kings.
That's mine. Easy.
That is so
I
cute.
love that part so goddamn much.
And then they did also list like just a one-word thing for each book for their favorite moment they felt was, but I'm just not gonna read those right now, but they're all cool moments. And then next comments from Adel8. When I listened to that chapter with Laurel, I felt like she was almost a hostage. Like, yes, she's been forced to comply with whatever they say. Like when the other boy says, you tell him to get us our drinks. It feels almost like an order, and she just obeys.
Mm-hmm. I felt that too, yeah. Like, what are you going to say? Be nice to him or something. You're going to just get it later, Or even right there to be
I
like,
thought that we would get more of that to see if that was the case or not. I was surprised how fast things moved away from that direction. So now that we kind of know that Kaladin never really went back to his village, doesn't really know what's going on there, I feel like we'll get to see someday how those things went, and it will be very interesting.
Hmm.
Or at least
I
likely
know.
didn't. I guess he still technically could, I guess. Like, his parents not responding to him, I actually find to be quite ominous. I have, even if his dad's mad, I have a hard time believing he wouldn't get a response,
oh yeah, that's not like him, like them. They're super
Mhm.
close.
So I think something might have happened back there. Hell, maybe
And
Amaran's army burned it to the ground, and that's why he hates him.
yeah, and so many times letters cannot be relied to get sent back and forth anyway, Like,
I don't think it's that, but that could be the case as well.
Yeah, and with this stuff with Laurel, I've said last week, but like first time I read it and stuff, she's always been a character that I've just been so interested in and just find her character so interesting. And she's not really a big part of the story. Just because she's just like bad things happening to her kind of in the background, but you don't really get too much of a focus on it, so you can't really dwell on it too much. And like the bad things happening to her are at the same time also things that are embarrassing Kaladin and making him feel bad, so it paints her in a bad light too. Next one's from Reader Warrior. Favorite kids books? Probably a bit vanilla, but Diary of a Wimpy Kid and Magic Tree House. Oh,
like
and the
classic.
Hardy Boys.
Yeah, Hardy Boys.
I never read the Hardy Boys. To me, the only Hardy Boys I recognize are Matt and Jeff Hardy. And they're not out there solving crimes.
Oh my god. No. Different thing.
Oh yeah, I know. I know the Hardy Boys are more connected to like Nancy Drew. Why is it that when Sheta says, "A lot clicked into place for me, I want to get in the bunker"?
Yeah. Scary shit, man.
That's not good.
All right, and then chapter 36. It's not a fun girls' night unless there's murder.
Yeah, girl. Just kidding. Don't quote me on that.
Don't quote you on that. I killed somebody because she'd have said "yeah, girl" in a podcast. She's responsible.
Girls' night. Let's go kill some rapists. Sounds like a good night.
Uh-huh.
And then he continues, what I find interesting about this part, and more so Yasna, is the fact it kind of reveals what she respects most. Yasna gives the excuse of punishing criminals, justice, and later keeping people safe, protection, but that's not why she did it. The most important thing to her is the lesson, finding out the truths and imparting that onto others. All this is done purely for Shallan so that she can see the world the way Yasna does. It shows Yasna's pride, not necessarily in the fact that she's always right, but in the way that the only way to be correct is to know information, because that is how self-improvement occurs.
I would say knowing information is the only way to be correct, so I support Yasna.
Shallan making an emotional decision instead of a tactful one aligns perfectly into her character.
No arguments there. I'm infuriated with her character. Not the character itself, but the recklessness. It drives me nuts. I want the other shoe to drop. It deserves to.
Not yet. We're not quite at the end.
The novels are split into 2 books in the UK because they're over 1,000 pages, which is too big for standard UK paperbacking. Hardcovers, like ones you get at Waterstones, UK Barnes & Noble, sometimes sell it as a 1-book specialty, which can be hard to find. And they aren't full price for each book. Way of Kings as a hardback is about £30, while part 1 is $15 and part 2 is $11. So a tad bit pricier, but they are 2 separately bound books.
Interesting.
Well, all I can say is this kind of like you can only have small paperback stuff is why we left that country.
Wow.
Yes, that's what happened.
Mm-hmm.
The history books were wrong.
That and those hideous covers. That's why we left.
That's it. I've had enough of these hideous covers and paying more for books that are the same book. That just really pees me off.
what happened? Somebody from the future came. It's like, check out these books that we're going to have in the future. And it's like those, all the white Cosmere covers. And they're just like, no, we can't have this.
No, we got to go become Americans. Screw this shit.
We got to get out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
These people
only
are
available.
insane. We got to get out of here.
Once again, I know people love those covers. And when all the series are lined up on one bookshelf, it does look pretty good. It's all like pretty uniform with the look.
No.
I don't buy books
No.
for their aesthetic, okay? That's very popular right now. So I'm not dissing anyone who has an awesome looking bookshelf. It's probably looks
I
way
am.
better than my
If
shitty
it's those
bookshelf.
books, burn them. Burn them all. Burn them all and buy real books.
I buy books for
I say-
aesthetics.
Do judge a
Yeah.
book by its cover.
I'm just jealous because I can't afford that.
What?
Sheta, you have more books than anyone I've ever met. Don't lie.
Yeah, but they don't match. They're all over the place. It
They
looks
are
like
all
a
over the
freaking
place.
junk store in here. Like
Yeah, that is factual.
when I see like these nice aesthetic Instagram posts of like girls' matching bookshelves, I'm like, oh, that looks good. I wish I could be
Yeah.
like that girl.
But do those girls read?
Yeah, they do.
I don't know. A lot of
Well-
people buy books with the intention to read them someday and then never ever do. I know
Ugh.
I've been guilty of that.
I will never trust again because I thought that I've met a fellow book reader and she said she only flips to her favorite characters' chapters to read their spicy scenes. And I was like, we are not kindred spirits. Goodbye.
Well, it's like when I hear some people, it's like, I've read A Song of Ice and Fire, but I skipped all the Catelyn chapters, just found her annoying. It's like, well, you're going to be confused as fuck when shit happens later.
Yeah. There are
I read every
different
fucking
types of readers.
Victorian chapter in there, man. I ain't skipping because I
Don't-
hate a character.
Those are all, his chapters are amazing and hilarious. I love
Victorian-
Victorian
oh,
chapters.
no.
Most entertaining chapters. Man,
Oh
I
my
wanted to
God.
punch him.
I mean, he's on a boat. He's having to deal with being on a boat with just monkeys throwing shit everywhere, and his chapters are hilarious.
He sucks.
Oh my god.
His life sucks. He sucks. Oh, it's great.
Mhm.
I
Okay.
love having a character to shit on, and that's just funny.
All right, back to Reader Warrior, chapter 37. The important detail is that bigotry is taught, not born. She didn't hate dark-eyed boys until after she was stuck in a living situation with a light-eye supremacist.
For Kaladin's friend?
Yeah.
I don't think she hates dark-eyed boys. She never gave me that vibe. She gave me just the
Yeah.
vibe that she was, trying to fit in. I didn't get the sense.
Yeah.
I mean, she hesitates for a second. That told me that she didn't like this. That's my vibe on it.
Chapter 39. Alethi stands for always lethally enforced termination of hostile intrusions.
Oh god. Oh god. Don't give Sheta ammo.
And then it's like, see, Shallan has thought it out. So I think this is the part where Shallan's thinking about when to leave, that she can't leave yet, and that sort of stuff.
Oh yeah. And we see next chapter, she's still like, I'm gonna have to come up with a plan eventually to convince Yasna I don't want to be here. I guess I'll have to get really upset the night before I leave.
She's a teen girl. She doesn't.
She is
plan.
not a teen girl.
Yeah, she is.
No, she's like
very
20-something,
sheltered-
isn't she?
Very
Oh,
sheltered
she is?
17.
girl.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
okay. I've been imagining her wrong this whole time.
Mm-mm. Yeah, she's
I'll
very
have to fix
sheltered,
that in my head.
homeschooled 17-year-old girl.
hmm Again, this is never a complaint that she's not realistic, ever.
All right. Chapter 40. You have eyes of red and blue. Oh, you mean like the doctor? Alonzi.
Does he have red and blue eyes?
I don't remember this. This must be a reference to something that I'm either stupid for not remembering or I'm not just well versed enough.
You
Well,
are a
didn't you
Doctor Who
stop
guy.
watching after Matt Smith, or
I did.
But is it
so?
Alonzi
That's something.
the one Doctor only? Or do all of them say that?
I never got into Doctor Who. I've only seen like 2 or 3 episodes.
I thought Alonzi was a David Tennant line Doctor only. But I could be wrong.
No, I'm trying to figure out the eyes of red and blue thing.
Oh, okay. Does he have the David Bowie thing in his eyes? No, he doesn't.
Then for our theory segment, how are we back on soul and blood magic?
Always.
Wait, now the Parshendi and Parchment are the LGMs with the Unimind from the Adventures of Star Command?
Yeah, basically. And the maybe the Void Bringers are the Claw.
The claw?
Yeah. You know, the Claw.
Oh, God. You guys are... you're giving me too many references to keep up with in my head here. I'm getting too confused.
And last part, there has been a discussion about the Stormlight Archive / Muppets version and who would be whom.
No. I'm not watching that. Kaladin's Kermit. Shallan's Miss Piggy. That's going to be good.
Well, let's be honest. The main characters, so Kaladin, Shallan, Dalinar, maybe Adolin, they'd be the humans. That's how the Muppet movies always go.
Nope, not in this version. They're the Muppets.
I thought Kermit would be Dalinar. And
You're
then
right.
Miss Piggy would be his
Kaladin.
brother's wife, you know.
Miss Piggy is
What?
Kaladin because she's the most actiony.
No, shut
She's
up.
going to do her hi-ya stuff.
Get out.
Wait, so if Dalinar's Kermit, does that make Adolin like his little nephew frog?
Yeah. It's so cute.
But I want
See?
Adolin to be Gonzo.
Justin, you can't just fan cast. these things.
Sadius
You
is
gotta
the
make
bear.
sense.
What's the bear's name again?
I don't. I'm
Bozzy?
very.
Yeah, he's Sadius. I can see it all. This is a beautiful movie.
Fozzie's a comedian. Wouldn't he work better for like Wit or Lopin?
Nope. Wit is obviously going to be the two guys who are always yelling at from the sides of the theater. Obviously.
They're two characters.
Yeah, they'll just be sitting up in the stands doing like, oh, you look great. It'll be great.
Oh my god.
Wait, wouldn't Dalinar work better as like a Sam Eagle for the very stoic person?
I was thinking him for Sadius too.
Okay, we don't need to spend too much time on this. We don't
Rock
need
would
to
be
go
Big
through-
Bird though, right?
What's that?
Wait, no.
No,
I'm thinking-
no. Rock needs to be like I don't remember if it has a name, but there's that one like big where it's just a guy in like a big costume and stuff like that like runs in.
Oh.
It's like just like a monster looking thing.
Yeah, I know the one you're talking about, yeah.
What about the Snuffle, the elephant?
Snuffleupagus will be the Chasm Fiends.
Oh my
I
gosh!
don't
They have
want
to
any
kill him.
Sesame Street Muppets in here. I like when they keep them separate.
Yeah, but they have some of
Kermit
the
was
best.
on Sesame Street.
Well, besides Kermit, of course. That's the exception.
Well, who will be Elmo?
I said I don't want Sesame Street Muppets.
What about Fraggle
Elmo will
Rock?
be Kaladin. No. Fraggle Rock is not invited to this nightmare.
So we're not the 80s like TV special, that Christmas special that had all three of those together.
No.
Okay.
Justin, why are
Well,
you so racist against Muppets?
Separate but equal.
it's like that Rooster Teeth short with the Pongo. Somebody out there understood that reference.
I don't remember it.
You don't? It was like a Rooster Teeth short, and it's like here's our newest member at the office. And it's a puppet comes in,
Yeah.
and Joel's
Oh
just
my
like,
God.
"What the hell?" It's like a
Yeah.
It's like a little puppet. He even
No,
has
no,
a
I
funny little
remember.
hat. It's called the yarmulke,
Yeah.
Joel.
Yeah, I remember now.
Then the season of Red vs. Blue that came out after that. If you look in the credits, it says security Pongo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. So let's look forward to next week. Next week, we'll be going through 4 chapters. Chapters 48 through 51. Yep, that's it. 48 through 51. So we haven't done plugs in a while. Do you guys want to do them or just go to the end?
Not today.
All right. We'll go to the end. That's it for our show this week. So now everyone's mission for the next week. Maybe while you're reading Cosmere, maybe also expand your horizon with reading. Go pick up a light novel and read one of those. Yep, so
Or a Tijuana Bible, your choice.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, look it up.
I remember what it is now. I will say stick with the light novel. All right. Or maybe just we talked about it earlier, so just go find it, watch Fraggle Rock. All right, everyone. Yeah, we'll see you all next week. Bye.
Sayonara.
Goodbye.